Hey everybody, David here, and today for St. Patrick's Day, I am going to be doing my top 10 of my favorite Green Rangers throughout Power Ranger history. That's right, I am a Power Ranger fan from the past. I might not watch it as religiously as I used to, but yeah, there's a good amount of seasons, I would say 17 seasons to be exact, that I've watched. I did watch all the other seasons that came afterwards as well, but there's some seasons that are a little fuzzier to me, so I don't remember them as well. Like what was the one, Samurai? If you ask me, like, hey David, do you remember that thing that happened in Samurai? I'm like, no. But it's not all fuzzy, but it can get a little fuzzier. I remember more of the everything from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all the way through RPM because I used to like theorize and stuff like that with every other fan. And now that they're playing a little bit more with their mythology, as I've been seeing in Beast Morphers, I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is kind of what I wish the show would have been back in the day, you know? It's like, so if there are still hardcore Power Ranger fans out there, the show is what we, I think, always dreamed of. And yes, I am enjoying Beast Morphers as a matter of fact. So there you go. So I have seen it's on Netflix. They finally put up the second half of season 2 on Netflix, or in Canada at least. So I am catching up with that season right now. I know Dino Fury is on Nickelodeon or something. I don't have that, so if Netflix decides to put it up, I'll check it out when it comes up. Until then, it's no rush. So let's get right into this. So a lot of these Rangers are from the era that obviously I have seen, but I did sneak in one of the, as some people would call it, the Neo Saban era Rangers. I did add one of them to this list at number 10. So let's get right into it. At number 10, I have Jake. And Jake is from Power Rangers Super Samurai. That's right. Or not Super Samurai, sorry. Super Mega Force. And yeah, he was like the Zack type character. Obviously, all the Rangers in that season were kind of like archetypes of the original Rangers from season 1. Like you had Jake, which was clearly the Zack type character. Troy was like the Jason. Was that his name, Troy? Yeah. The Red Ranger was like the Jason like character. The Pink and Yellow Rangers were like Kimberly and Trini. And the Blue Ranger, Noah, was like Billy. Um, and I think the Sixth Ranger was even a little bit. Well, he was more like Andros, I would say, because he was like an alien, right? So, yeah, Jake I thought was the best one actually in that season. I thought he was the one with the most personality, and he was a little bit of a doofus, which I sympathize with the doofuses because I can be a little bit like that too. I can be a little bit of a doofus. So yeah, I thought he should make my list. I liked him better than some of the other ones that I had at the bottom, that were a little bit less memorable. But for the most part, I think most Green Rangers have actually been pretty cool characters for the most part from the seasons that I remember watching throughout the history of the show. So, moving on to number 9, I have Bridge from Power Rangers SPD. Bridge was a funny type of character. He was a little bit of a weirdo. He always liked to make toast, and he did that thing, you know, buttery. And plus the actor Matt Austin. I think he's changed his last name recently, or a couple years back. He is Canadian, so you know I'm not being biased, or else he would have been more higher. But Bridge is a cool character, and you gotta put him up there. And it was great seeing him become the Red Ranger eventually when the 15th anniversary happened. So he's like the only Green Ranger in history to eventually become Red, which was pretty cool. Well, okay, until you get to another Ranger down the line. Spoiler alert for my list here. Moving on to number 8, I have Damon from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Once again, another really enjoyable character who was a lot of fun to watch. Reggie Roll played the role of Damon, who married the actress who played the villain Trakina in that season too. Apparently, they fell in love, and after the show finished and got married, and I think they are still married. I don't know. I don't keep up with that stuff, but If they are, congratulations. If not, I'm sorry for bringing up that. But hopefully they still are. And yeah, I really liked the character of Damon. He was like the mechanic of the group, but he was pretty funny. He had that personality that was kind of like he knew how to fix things, right? He was the mechanic. He controlled the mega ship. It always made me wonder why did Andros choose him to take over the mega ship or take care of it. I wish they would have went a little bit more background on that. But he was also funny. He was just a funny, goofy guy, and that's what made him enjoyable to watch. At number 7, I have Xander from Power Rangers Mystic Force. Mystic Force, one of my least favorite seasons, but the character of Xander definitely stood out. And you know what? There's something about a British and Australian accent that I'm kind of jealous of. People who have, I don't know why, but they just make them sound so much more cooler than me. I mean, it's fine. I have a Canadian accent, as if you can really tell. Canadians and Americans sound more or less the same to me. And Australians and New Zealanders, they sound a little the same to me too, but there is a slight difference in the dialect. British people, obviously, as well. And so Xander, I think he was Australian. I don't know if the actor might have been Australian too. But again, he was like the cocky type of character that was full of himself, but he goofed up once in a while too, and I like that. I think characters like that could be fun in Power Rangers. So, at number 6, I have Cam. Cam was the Green Samurai Ranger in Power Rangers Ninja Storm. He was the original Green Samurai Ranger before Power Rangers Samurai came along and said there was a new Green Samurai Ranger. Different costume though, obviously nothing related to the same seasons. But yeah, Cam was kind of like Billy. He was like the genius of the team. He started off as like the guy in the chair kind of character, but then would later become a ranger later on in the season. That's why I say he's like the Billy type character. He's as if they skipped all of Mighty Morphin and just went to Billy from Zeo. Because Zeo was like that too. Billy was always in the command center, being the guy in the chair. And eventually he should have become the Gold Ranger. And I feel like that's what Cam was, since Doug Sloan was the producer of the showrunner of Power Rangers Ninja Storm. He used to be the guy in charge during Zeo, right? He was calling the shots story-wise in what happened during that season. And I feel like this was his way of correcting that mistake. That's just me pondering that. I wonder if he made the Billy type character become a ranger in this season because he realized, you know what, Billy should have became the Gold Ranger back in Zeo. This is my way of correcting that in some way. Moving on to number 5, I have Trip from Power Rangers Time Force. Again, I think this is a really fun character. He's more of an innocent type character because he's not like the strongest one of the bunch in this season. In Time Force, he was like the weakest of all the Rangers, but he was funny and he was like, he had this like little, he knew that he wasn't the best and he always wanted to be the best. And I thought it was fun, and there was some like funny, goofy moments I thought with him, like the night, the Beware the Night episode where he went out to get pizza and then he slipped on it or something, or he came up with a weird story or something, and he looked like a goofball at the end, but it was funny to me. He always had some nice, fun moments, I thought, throughout the season. Number 4, I have Ziggy from Power Rangers RPM. I think RPM is one of the greatest seasons out there, and the cast was really great in that season, and Ziggy was part of that cast. Ziggy, again, was the goofball type of character. Most Green Rangers I notice are like the goofball, funny kind of character, and he had like entanglements with the Mafia. It was the only Power Ranger season that involved the Mafia. And they showed that a little bit more in the flashbacks later on in the season. But they kind of gave you hints that Ziggy kind of had like this troubled past. And then he also had the romantic relationship with Dr. K, who came back for Beast Morphers, yeah, he was a cool character, and there was a really good relationship there with him and Dylan. I thought that Dylan was the Black Ranger of that season. I thought they had a really good buddy buddy type of dynamic. So moving on, at number 3, I have Joel from Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. That's right. Joel was my favorite Ranger, hands down, in that season. It wasn't really much competition. I thought the cast was a little weak in that season, but Keith Robinson, who played Joel, I thought was the best of that cast, and really stood out the most. And I know he went on to do Dreamgirls with Eddie Murphy. Later on, he was in that movie and even sang at the Academy Awards on stage. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, "What? That's Joel, the Green Lightspeed Ranger." And like all those celebrities are like watching him performing. That's awesome. Yeah, Joel was definitely one of the best Green Rangers. Again, he was one of the funny goofball type of character, and I did like the dynamic between him and Miss Fairweather, who was the romantic interest for Joel. Kind of the first like interracial relationship on a kids TV show, if I remember correct. I don't remember any other kids TV show having two different races in a relationship at the time. That I'm surprised that doesn't get talked about more now, thinking about it. But yeah, it was, and yeah, Joel definitely was one of the cool ones, I thought. And it would be cool if, the producers, whenever we have these anniversary team ups, reach out to Keith Robinson, because Joel would be a cool character to bring back. I know they like bringing back Tommy all the time, and it's cool, but it's like there's so many other great Rangers out there that I feel and some of these Rangers that I miss mentioning would be pretty cool to see back once in a while. Moving on to my number 2 favorite Green Ranger of all time is Adam. Adam was the second Black Ranger, taking over for Zach after Zach left, and then he became the Green Zeo Ranger in Power Rangers Zeo, and then the Green Turbo Ranger in Power Rangers Turbo. Notice that Carlos isn't on this list. Will he be number 1? No. Adam. Carlos was okay, but Adam, I obviously was one of the most superior Rangers. There's a reason he came back for Power Rangers in Space, and then once again for Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, which was the last time the character was seen, as far as I know. Johnny Young Bosch, I know he's more of an anime voice actor now, but he's always been cool to the fans, from what I remember. There was a time where he came to Ranger Board and interacted with the fans for quite some time. And I think that's how they eventually reached out to him to get him on Overdrive. They saw him interacting with the fans, and I guess they reached out. And that's how he saw the fan interaction, how much I think fans really enjoyed the Power Rangers in Space episode that he appeared in. So it was, and I thought when he became the Green Ranger, that's when his character became more confident. As a matter of fact, I would say the first half of Turbo, which I think is like the worst half of Turbo, it's like pretty bad. And this is coming from a Power Ranger fan. If I'm saying the first half is pretty bad, it's pretty bad. But Adam, I thought, was the best character in that first half of the season. I think he even outshined Tommy during that time. And Tommy was like one of the greatest Rangers of all time, right? So he was like the most popular. He's the face of the franchise, as some people would say. Adam, I thought, kind of overshadowed Tommy a little bit during that season. I felt Jason David Frank was out of it. It's like, I'm gonna be leaving soon, guys. So you know what? Make Adam the leader now. And I think that's what they were setting it up. That was a rumor at the time, that they were playing around with the idea that Adam would have become the Red Turbo Ranger after Tommy and Kat left. And then Tanya was going to be upgraded, and Adam would have been... I think Tanya would have stayed as yellow, but I think they were thinking of making Adam green. And then Cassie and Carlos would have joined, and Carlos would have became green, and Ashley would have became pink. but then Tanya left too, so Tanya or Ashley became yellow. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Adam, one of the most badass Green Rangers of all time. And hopefully one day they bring him back because it's been a long time. And the last team up he was in wasn't the best, and Adam deserves better, I would say. Finally, number one, no brainer, Tommy Oliver, the original Green Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yeah, there's no contest here. I mean, it's Tommy. What do you say? What do you say? He became the White Ranger after, then he became the Red Zeo Ranger, the Red Turbo Ranger, and then finally the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. But it's the Green Ranger that everybody remembers him as the most, especially his story arc, I think, where people saw him struggling after he lost his powers, and then he tried to regain them, and despite how weak they were getting, he kept fighting on. And I think people like seeing a hero like that who keeps fighting even when it looks like a losing situation. And I think that's kind of the thing that made Tommy very popular. So with that being said, guys, tell me, if you are a Power Rangers fan, what are your top 10 favorite Green Rangers of all time? And if you are not, well, then get out of here. What are you doing here if you're not a Power Rangers fan? This is for my fellow Power Ranger fans that are out there that enjoy the show. I don't want to hear about this no pink spandex business or red spandex or whatever spandex you want to wear. Green is the color today, so let me know. I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to my channel, especially if you are a Power Ranger fan. I don't do Power Ranger videos all the time, but once in a while I'll sneak one in when I feel like it. So with that being said, until next time, take care.